Something magnificent is happening right now in your life, and you may not even be aware of it yet. There's a force, an energy, a power that's working on your behalf at this very moment. It's been working all along, actually, but perhaps you haven't been tuned in to receive it. Perhaps you've been so caught up in the struggles, the worries, the daily grind, that you haven't noticed the subtle shifts taking place in your reality. But I'm here to tell you that a big miracle is coming your way, and the only thing standing between you and that miracle is your willingness to be ready for it. You see, miracles aren't these random events that happen to lucky people. They're not reserved for the chosen few or the especially deserving. Miracles are the natural outcome of aligning yourself with the creative force of the universe. They happen when you shift your consciousness from fear to love, from scarcity to abundance, from doubt to faith. And right now, at this very moment, you have the opportunity to make that shift. Let me share something with you that changed my entire perspective on life. For so many years, I believed that I had to make things happen through sheer force of will. I thought success meant pushing harder, working longer, struggling more intensely. I was convinced that life was difficult and that I had to fight for every little thing I wanted. And you know what? Life reflected that belief right back to me. It was difficult. It was a struggle. Every achievement came with tremendous effort and stress. But then something shifted. I began to understand that there's a different way to live. There's a way of being that doesn't require all that struggle and force. It's a way of allowing, of receiving, of opening yourself up to the infinite possibilities that already exist in the universe. You don't have to create miracles. You simply have to allow them to flow into your life. Think about it this way. Right now, there are radio waves all around you. Music, voices, information, all traveling through the air at different frequencies. But you can't hear any of it unless you have a radio, and that radio has to be tuned to the right frequency. The music exists whether you hear it or not. The miracle that's coming your way already exists in the field of infinite possibilities. Your job isn't to create it. Your job is to tune yourself to the frequency where you can receive it. So how do you do that? How do you tune yourself to receive miracles? It starts with understanding who you really are. You are not just a physical body moving through space and time. You are not just your job title, your bank account, your relationships, or your past experiences. At your core, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a piece of the divine creative force that brought the entire universe into existence. You have within you the same power that creates galaxies, that makes flowers bloom, that causes your heart to beat without you having to think about it. But somewhere along the way, most of us forget this truth. We start to identify with our limitations instead of our limitless nature. We look at our circumstances and we say, this is who I am, this is all I can be, this is all I can have. We let our past define our future. We let other people's opinions determine our worth. We let fear and doubt block the flow of miracles into our lives. The miracle that's coming your way requires you to let go of these limited ideas about yourself. It requires you to expand your sense of what's possible. It requires you to stop living from your ego and start living from your higher self. Your ego is the part of you that feels separate, that believes in lack and limitation, that's always worried about survival and competition. Your higher self is the part of you that knows you're connected to everything, that there's more than enough for everyone, that you're safe and loved and supported by the universe at all times. When you live from your ego, you block miracles. You're in a state of resistance. You're pushing against life instead of flowing with it. You're trying to control outcomes instead of trusting the process. You're focused on what you don't have instead of appreciating what you do have. And all of this creates a vibrational frequency that actually pushes miracles away from you. But when you live from your higher self, you open the floodgates. You become a magnet for miracles. You align yourself with the natural flow of abundance that wants to move through you and to you. You stop being a blocked pipe and you become an open channel for all the good that the universe has to offer. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You're thinking, that sounds wonderful, but you don't know my situation. You don't know how difficult my life has been. You don't know the problems I'm facing. And you're right, I don't know your specific circumstances. But I do know this. Whatever you're facing right now, no matter how challenging it seems, is not bigger than the power that lives within you. The same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of planets and the changing of seasons is available to you right now to transform your life. The question is, are you willing to receive it? Are you willing to let go of your attachment to your problems? Because sometimes we get so identified with our struggles that we can't let them go. They become our identity. We become the person who has this disease, the person who can't find a good relationship, the person who never has enough money, the person who was hurt in the past. And as long as we hold on to these identities, we can't receive the miracle that would transform them. Receiving a miracle requires a certain kind of faith. Not faith in the religious sense necessarily, although that can be part of it. I'm talking about faith as a way of being. Faith as a decision to trust life instead of fear it. Faith as a willingness to believe in possibilities that your logical mind can't yet comprehend. Faith as an openness to receive good even when your current circumstances don't seem to reflect it. You see, most people have it backwards when it comes to faith. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's not how miracles work. With miracles, you have to believe it before you see it. You have to hold the vision of what you want to experience, even when your current reality shows you something completely different. You have to feel the feelings of having received your miracle before it shows up in physical form. This isn't about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about understanding that your current reality is simply the result of your past thinking and believing. If you want a different reality, you have to think and believe differently right now. You have to become the person who has already received the miracle. You have to align your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions with the reality you want to experience. Let me tell you something about the universe. It doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to your vibration. It responds to the energy you're putting out. And your energy is determined by your thoughts and feelings. If you're constantly thinking thoughts of lack, limitation, fear, and doubt, you're sending out a signal that attracts more experiences that match those thoughts. But if you shift your thinking to thoughts of abundance, possibility, love, and trust, you send out a different signal. And the universe must respond with experiences that match that higher frequency. This is why gratitude is so powerful. When you're in a state of genuine gratitude, you're automatically aligning yourself with abundance. You're acknowledging the good that's already in your life, and that acknowledgement attracts more good to you. It's a universal law. Like attracts like. What you focus on expands. What you appreciate appreciates. So, if you want to receive the miracle that's coming your way, start by being grateful for what you have right now. Even if it doesn't seem like much, even if you're facing challenges, there's always something to be grateful for. Your breath, your life, your ability to read or hear these words. The fact that you woke up this morning with another chance to experience this beautiful gift called life. And as you practice gratitude, you'll start to notice something amazing. You'll start to see that you're already surrounded by miracles. The fact that your body heals itself when you get a cut, that's a miracle. The fact that there are billions of stars in the sky and you can look up and see them, that's a miracle. The fact that you can think a thought and that thought can change your entire emotional state, that's a miracle. The fact that you can love and be loved, that's a miracle. We're so used to these everyday miracles that we don't even recognize them anymore. We take them for granted. We're always looking for some big dramatic event that we can call a miracle. And in the meantime, we miss the constant flow of miracles happening all around us and through us every single day. But the miracle that's coming your way, the one that you're preparing to receive right now, this is going to be one that you recognize. This is going to be one that shifts something significant in your life. It might be a healing. It might be a relationship. It might be an opportunity. It might be a solution to a problem that's been plaguing you. It might be a complete transformation of your circumstances. I don't know what form your miracle will take, but I know it's on its way. And I know that your willingness to receive it is what will allow it to manifest in your life. Now, receiving a miracle also requires you to let go of resistance. Resistance is anything that blocks the natural flow of good into your life. And one of the biggest forms of resistance is judgment. When you judge yourself, when you judge others, when you judge your circumstances, you create a barrier between you and the miracle you're meant to receive. Think about judgment for a moment. When you judge something as bad or wrong, you're essentially saying, this shouldn't be happening. I know better than the universe how things should be. But what if everything that's happening is happening for a reason? What if even the challenges you're facing are part of the process that's bringing your miracle to you? What if the difficulties you're experiencing are actually preparing you to receive something even greater than you could have imagined? I've seen this pattern over and over again in my own life and in the lives of countless others. The biggest breakthroughs often come right after the biggest challenges. The darkest hour really is just before the dawn. But if you're judging the darkness, if you're resisting it and fighting against it, you slow down the dawn. You delay your breakthrough. You block your miracle. So practice non-judgment. Practice acceptance. This doesn't mean you have to like everything that's happening. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take action to change things. It simply means you stop resisting what is. You acknowledge your current reality without making it wrong. You accept it as part of your path. And from that place of acceptance, you're free to create something new. Another form of resistance that blocks miracles is attachment to how things should happen. We have this tendency to decide exactly how our miracle should show up. We think we know the best way, the right way, the only way for things to work out. And then when life doesn't follow our script, we get disappointed or frustrated or we give up altogether. But the universe is far more creative than we are. The intelligence that runs this entire cosmos has access to possibilities and solutions that our limited human minds can't even conceive of. When you insist that your miracle has to come in a specific form or through a specific channel, you're limiting what the universe can deliver to you. You're like someone standing at the ocean with a teaspoon saying, "I'm ready to receive, but only this much and only in this way." So yes, have your desires, have your vision, know what you want, but then surrender the how and the when to a power greater than yourself. Say to the universe, this or something better, in your way and in your timing. And then trust. Trust that what's meant for you will find you. Trust that the miracle that's coming is even better than the one you were imagining. Trust that the universe has your back. This kind of trust isn't always easy, especially if you've been hurt or disappointed in the past. Maybe you've trusted before and it didn't work out the way you hoped. Maybe you've believed in miracles before and felt let down. If that's your story, I want you to know something important. Those experiences weren't failures. They were redirections. They were the universe saying, not that, something better, not now, but soon. Not that way, but this way. Every seeming setback, every closed door, every disappointment is actually part of a larger pattern that's working in your favor. You can't see the full picture while you're living it. You can only see it in retrospect. But from a higher perspective, everything that's ever happened to you has been preparing you for this moment. Everything you've been through has made you stronger, wiser, more capable of receiving and handling the miracle that's coming. And here's something else that's crucial to understand. You don't have to be perfect to receive a miracle. You don't have to have your life completely together. You don't have to be completely healed from all your past wounds. You don't have to be completely free of doubt or fear. You just have to be willing. You just have to be open. You just have to say yes to the possibility that something wonderful can happen for you. Too many people disqualify themselves from miracles. They think they're not worthy. They think they're not ready. They think they haven't done enough spiritual work or personal development. They think they need to be better before they can receive better. But that's just the ego talking. That's just fear, trying to keep you small and safe and stuck where you are. The truth is, you're worthy right now. You're ready right now. You're enough right now. Not because of what you've done or achieved or overcome, but simply because you exist. You're a creation of the divine, and the divine doesn't make mistakes. You were born worthy. You were born deserving of every good thing. You were born to receive miracles. It's your birthright. It's your natural state. What's unnatural is the struggle and the suffering and the lack. Those things aren't your destiny. They're just temporary experiences created by false beliefs and limited thinking. And the beautiful thing is, you can change your thinking right now. You can choose different thoughts. You can tell yourself a different story. You can shift your perspective, and in doing so, shift your entire reality. So start telling yourself the truth. The truth is that you're loved beyond measure. The truth is that you're supported by the entire universe. The truth is that infinite intelligence is working on your behalf at this very moment. The truth is that a miracle is already on its way to you. The truth is that everything is working out for your highest good, even when it doesn't look like it. When you align yourself with these truths, when you make them your dominant thoughts and beliefs, your entire energy shifts. You move from a frequency of lack to a frequency of abundance. You move from a consciousness of fear to a consciousness of love. And in that higher state of consciousness, miracles are not only possible, they're inevitable. Now, as you're preparing to receive your miracle, there are some practical things you can do to stay aligned. First, pay attention to your thoughts. Notice when you're thinking thoughts that don't serve you. Notice when you're worrying about the future or ruminating about the past. Notice when you're judging yourself or others. And when you catch yourself in these lower frequency thoughts, gently redirect yourself. Choose a better thought. Choose a thought that feels more like love, more like possibility, more like trust. Second, pay attention to your words. Your words have power. They're not just sounds or symbols. They're creative forces. When you speak, you're literally bringing things into being. So speak words of life and possibility and abundance. Speak words that affirm the miracle you're receiving. Don't speak your problems into existence over and over again. Don't rehearse your limitations. Don't declare what you can't do or can't have. Speak as if your miracle has already happened. Speak with certainty and confidence about the good that's coming into your life. Third, pay attention to your feelings. Your feelings are your guidance system. They're telling you whether you're aligned with your higher self or your ego. When you feel good, peaceful, joyful, hopeful, excited, you're aligned. You're on the right frequency to receive miracles. When you feel bad, anxious, frustrated, angry, hopeless, you're out of alignment. You're blocking the flow. Now, this doesn't mean you should suppress negative feelings or pretend they don't exist. It means you should feel them, acknowledge them, and then choose to shift them. You can't heal what you don't feel, but you also don't have to live in those feelings. You can feel the fear and then choose faith. You can feel the doubt and then choose trust. You can feel the sadness and then choose hope. You always have a choice about where you place your attention and what you do with your emotions. Fourth, take inspired action. Receiving a miracle doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing, waiting for something to drop out of the sky. It means being open and attentive to the guidance you receive and then acting on it. Inspired action is action that comes from alignment, not from fear or desperation. It's action that feels right, that flows easily, that energizes you rather than draining you. You'll know when you're taking inspired action because it won't feel like struggle. It will feel like cooperation with the universe. It will feel like you're being led, supported, carried along by a force greater than yourself. And often, the action itself might seem small or insignificant, but it will lead to something much bigger. That's how miracles often work. They start with a small nudge, a little intuition, a simple action, and then they unfold into something magnificent. Fifth, practice patience. I know you want your miracle now. I know you're ready for things to change. But the universe operates on its own timeline, not yours. Everything has a gestation period. An apple, a seed doesn't become an apple tree overnight. A baby doesn't grow from conception to birth in a week. And your miracle is growing, developing, making its way to you. Trust the timing. Trust that when it arrives, it will be exactly the right time. Impatience is a form of resistance. It's you saying to the universe, I don't trust your timing. I don't trust the process. I need it now, or it doesn't count. But when you practice patience, when you trust the unfolding, you relax. And in that relaxed state, you're actually more open to receive. You stop blocking the flow with your anxiety and urgency. Sixth, surround yourself with people who believe in miracles. The people you spend time with have a huge influence on your consciousness. If you're surrounded by cynics and skeptics and people who only see limitations, their energy will pull you down. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in possibilities, who see the good in life, who expect miracles, their energy will lift you up. You don't have to cut people out of your life, but you do need to be conscious about whose energy you're allowing to influence you. Seek out teachers, authors, speakers who inspire you. Find communities of like-minded people who are on a similar path. Protect your consciousness the way you would protect a precious garden. Don't let just anything grow there. Be selective about what you allow in. Seventh, and this is perhaps the most important, live as if your miracle has already happened. Don't wait until you receive it to be happy. Don't postpone your joy until your circumstances change. Be happy now. Be grateful now. Be at peace now. Because the truth is, If you can't be happy and grateful and peaceful before the miracle arrives, you won't be happy and grateful and peaceful after it arrives either. You'll just find something else to worry about or want. The state of consciousness you cultivate now is the state of consciousness you'll have in the future. So cultivate joy now. Cultivate peace now. Cultivate abundance consciousness now, even if your bank account doesn't reflect it yet. Cultivate health consciousness now, even if your body is still healing. Cultivate love consciousness now, even if you're still waiting for the right relationship. Because it's your consciousness that creates your reality, not the other way around. When you live this way, when you embody the energy of already having received your miracle, something magical happens. You stop chasing it. You stop needing it. And in that state of non-neediness, you become a perfect match for it. It can find you easily because you're vibrating at the same frequency it is. This is the paradox of manifestation. The less attached you are to the outcome, the more quickly it comes. The more you need something, the more you push it away. But when you want something while simultaneously being okay if it doesn't come exactly as you planned, you're in the perfect receptive state. You're saying to the universe, I'm open to this wonderful thing, and I'm also trusting that whatever comes is for my highest good. Now, I want to address something that might be on your mind. You might be wondering, what if my miracle doesn't come? What if I do all these things and nothing changes? What if I open myself up to disappointment? And I want to tell you something very clearly. If you do these things, if you truly align yourself with the principles I've shared, something will absolutely change. It might not change in the exact way you expect. It might not come in the exact form you imagine, but you will experience a shift. You will receive something good. You will experience growth and expansion. Because here's the secret that many people miss. The real miracle isn't always the external thing you're hoping for. The real miracle is who you become in the process of preparing to receive it. The real miracle is the transformation that happens in your consciousness. The real miracle is the peace you find, the faith you develop, the love you experience, the trust you cultivate. These internal shifts are actually more valuable than any external miracle could ever be. And once you have these internal shifts, once you've raised your consciousness to a higher level, the external miracles become almost inevitable. They're just the natural reflection of your internal state. They're the universe saying, yes, you're ready now, you're a match now, here's what you've been asking for. So don't focus on the miracle itself. Focus on becoming the person who is ready to receive it. Focus on aligning yourself with love instead of fear. Focus on trusting instead of doubting. Focus on appreciating instead of complaining. Focus on giving instead of just taking. Focus on serving instead of just being served. Because when you become this kind of person, miracles don't just come to you occasionally. They become your normal, everyday experience. You know, we live in a universe that is infinitely abundant. There's more than enough for everyone. There is enough health, enough wealth, enough love, enough opportunity, enough everything. The only lack is in our consciousness, in our limited thinking, in our belief that we have to compete and struggle and fight for our share. But the truth is, there are no limited resources in the spiritual realm. And everything in the physical realm ultimately comes from the spiritual realm. So when you tap into that spiritual source, when you align yourself with infinite supply, you have access to everything you could ever need or want. Not through taking from others, but through opening yourself to receive from the unlimited source of all good. This is what it means to live a miracle-ready life. It means living from a consciousness of abundance. It means knowing that you're supported. It means trusting that what you need will come. It means believing that the universe is friendly, not hostile. It means seeing yourself as a beloved child of the divine, not as a struggling orphan trying to make it on your own. And when you live this way, when you truly embody this consciousness, your whole life becomes a miracle. Every day becomes an adventure. Every challenge becomes an opportunity. Every person you meet becomes a teacher or a blessing. Every experience becomes meaningful. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and you start feeling like a co-creator with the universe. This is your birthright. This is what you were born to experience. Not struggle and suffering and limitation, but joy and peace and abundance. Not fear and doubt and worry, but faith and trust and confidence. Not lack and scarcity and competition, but plenty and generosity and cooperation. So right now, in this moment, make a decision. Decide that you're ready to receive your miracle. Decide that you're done with the old way of living, the old way of thinking, the old way of being. Decide that you're going to open yourself up to something new, something better, something miraculous. And as you make this decision, feel it in your body. Feel the shift happening. Feel yourself letting go of resistance. Feel yourself opening up. Feel yourself becoming receptive. Feel yourself aligning with the infinite power of the universe. Feel yourself becoming a magnet for miracles. Your miracle is coming. It's already in motion. It's already making its way to you. The universe has heard your desire. It has felt your longing. It has seen your struggles. And it's responding with something wonderful, something beyond what you've been able to see or comprehend until now. So be ready, stay open, keep your consciousness high, maintain your faith, practice your gratitude, live your joy, speak your truth, take your inspired action, and most of all, trust. Trust that you're loved, trust that you're supported, trust that you're worthy, trust that your good is coming. The miracle you've been waiting for is waiting for you to be ready to receive it. And everything you need to be ready is already within you. You just have to activate it. You just have to align with it. You just have to allow it. So let go of the struggle. Release the fear. Surrender the doubt. Open your hands. Open your heart. Open your mind. And receive the miracle that's been yours all along. It's time. You're ready. And the universe is ready to deliver it to you. All you have to do is say yes. Yes to the miracle. Yes to the transformation. Yes to the life you were born to live. Yes to being exactly who you came here to be. Yes to receiving all the good that's available to you. Yes to miracles. There is a power in this universe that is greater than you, greater than me, greater than all of us combined. And when you learn to align yourself with that power, when you learn to put that divine presence first in everything you do, your entire life transforms in ways you cannot even begin to comprehend right now. You see, most people go through their lives backwards. They wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about what they need to do, what they need to accomplish, what problems they need to solve, who they need to impress. They put their ego first. They put their fears first. They put their doubts first. And then they wonder why life feels so hard, why success seems so elusive, why happiness always seems just beyond their reach. But there is another way. There is a way of living that changes everything. And it starts with a simple but profound shift in your awareness. It starts with understanding that you are not just this body, you are not just this mind, you are not just this personality that has been conditioned by your past experiences and your cultural programming. You are something far greater. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You came from the divine, you are connected to the divine, and you will return to the divine. When you truly understand this, when you really get it at a level that goes beyond intellectual knowledge, you realize that putting God first is not some religious obligation or some moral duty that you have to fulfill. It is simply the most intelligent, the most practical, the most effective way to live your life. Because when you put God first, you tap into an infinite source of creativity, intelligence, love, and power that already exists within you. Now, let me be clear about what I mean when I say God. I am not talking about some old man with a beard sitting on a throne in the sky, judging you, punishing you, keeping score of all your mistakes. I am talking about the creative intelligence that brings worlds into existence, that causes flowers to bloom, that makes your heart beat without you having to think about it, that orchestrates the perfect movement of planets and stars. This is the power I am talking about. This is the presence that exists everywhere in everything, including you. And here is what most people do not understand. This divine presence is not separate from you. It is not something outside of you that you have to beg for help or convince to give you what you want. It is the very essence of who you are. It is your source. It is where you came from before you arrived in this physical body, and it is where you will return when this physical life is complete. When you put God first, what you are really doing is remembering who you truly are. You are aligning with your highest self. You are connecting with the part of you that knows no limitations, that knows no fear, that knows only love and infinite possibility. And when you live from that place, when you make your decisions from that place, when you take your actions from that place, everything changes. Think about it this way. When you put God first, you are no longer operating from a place of lack. You are no longer coming from a consciousness that says, I do not have enough, I am not enough, there is not enough. Instead, you are coming from a consciousness of abundance, a consciousness that knows that the source of all things is infinite and unlimited. And what you focus on expands. What you put your attention on grows in your life. So when you start your day by connecting with the divine, when you take time to be still and remember your true nature, when you ask yourself, what would love do here? What would my highest self choose in this situation? You are automatically aligning yourself with the flow of the universe. You are tapping into a wisdom that is far greater than your limited ego mind could ever access. And here is the beautiful thing. When you put God first, you do not have to figure everything out. You do not have to have all the answers. You do not have to control every detail of your life. You simply have to trust. You have to have faith. You have to know that when you align with the divine, you are being guided, you are being supported, you are being led to exactly where you need to be. This does not mean that life becomes easy or that you will never face challenges. It means that you face those challenges from a completely different place. Instead of facing them with fear and anxiety and worry, you face them with peace and confidence and trust, because you know that you are not alone. You know that there is a power working through you, a power that is always for you, never against you. Let me tell you something else about putting God first. When you do this, when you really commit to this way of living, you stop seeking approval from others. You stop trying to please everyone around you. You stop living your life according to what other people think you should do or who they think you should be, because you realize that there is only one approval you need, and that is the approval of your own higher self, your own divine nature. And when you live from that place, something miraculous happens. You become authentic. You become real. You stop pretending to be someone you are not. You stop hiding your true feelings and your true desires. You start showing up in the world as who you really are. And ironically, when you stop trying to get everyone to like you, when you stop performing for others, you actually become more magnetic, more attractive, more influential. Because people can sense authenticity. They can feel when someone is living from their truth. Now, I want to talk to you about how you actually put God first in a practical way. Because this is not just some abstract spiritual concept. This is something you can practice every single day in very concrete ways. First, you start your day with the divine. Before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you jump into all the demands and distractions of the day, you take time to be still. You meditate, you pray, you sit in silence and connect with that presence within you. Even if it is just 5 minutes, even if it is just 1 minute, you make that connection first. You remember who you are. You align with your source. And in that moment of stillness, you set your intention for the day. You ask yourself, how can I serve today? How can I be an instrument of love today? How can I bring more light into the world today? You are not asking, what can I get today? How can I manipulate circumstances to go my way? How can I prove my worth? You are asking how you can give, how you can contribute, how you can be a channel for the divine to work through you. Second, you trust the guidance you receive. When you connect with God, when you connect with your higher self, you will receive intuition. You will get feelings, hunches, ideas, inspirations. And your job is to trust those inner promptings and act on them, even when they do not make logical sense to your rational mind. Your ego will always want proof. Your ego will always want guarantees. Your ego will always want to know exactly how things are going to work out before you take the first step. But faith does not work that way. Faith means you take the step even when you cannot see the entire staircase. Faith means you follow your inner guidance even when everyone around you thinks you are crazy. And here is what I have learned. Every single time I have followed that inner voice, every single time I have trusted that divine guidance, it has led me to exactly where I needed to be. Not always where I thought I wanted to be, but always where I needed to be for my highest good and my greatest growth. Third, you let go of attachment to outcomes. This is a big one. Most people put their ego first, not God first, because they are so attached to specific outcomes. They want things to happen in a certain way, at a certain time, in a certain order. And when things do not go according to their plan, they get frustrated, they get angry, they lose faith. But when you put God first, you surrender the outcome. You do your best, you take inspired action, you show up fully, and then you let go. You trust that whatever happens is for your highest good, even if you cannot see it in the moment. You know that the divine has a plan for you that is far greater than anything your limited mind could conceive. This does not mean you do not have goals or dreams or desires. It means you hold them lightly. You are not desperately clinging to them. You are not defining your worth by whether you achieve them or not. You are simply moving in the direction of what brings you joy and fulfillment, and you trust that the universe will handle the details. Fourth, you look for God in everything and everyone. When you truly put God first, you start to see the divine everywhere. You see it in nature, in the smile of a stranger, in the eyes of your children, in the challenges that test you, in the blessings that surprise you. You realize that everything is conspiring for your growth, for your evolution, for your awakening. And when you see God in everyone, you cannot help but treat people with more kindness, more compassion, more patience, because you recognize that the same divine spark that lives in you lives in them. You see beyond their personality, beyond their behavior, beyond their mistakes, and you see the soul beneath it all. And when you interact with people from that level, you bring out the best in them. You help them remember who they really are. Fifth, you practice gratitude constantly. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to align with the divine. Because when you are grateful, you are acknowledging the abundance that already exists in your life. You are recognizing the blessings that surround you. You are saying yes to life, exactly as it is right now. And here is the thing about gratitude. It is not just about being thankful when things go well. It is about finding the blessing in everything, even in the challenges, even in the difficulties, even in the pain, because every experience you have is an opportunity for growth. Every obstacle you face is an invitation to become stronger, wiser, more compassionate. When you put God first and practice gratitude, you shift from a victim consciousness to a creator consciousness. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this teaching me? How is this serving my growth? How can I use this experience to become more of who I am meant to be? Now, let me address something that I know comes up for a lot of people when we talk about putting God first. Some people worry that if they focus on God, if they focus on spirituality, they will become weak or passive or ineffective in the world. They think that putting God first means you do not pursue success or achievement or material goals. They think it means you just sit around meditating all day and hoping that everything works out. But that is not what I am talking about at all. When you put God first, you do not become less ambitious or less driven. You become more effective, more purposeful, more powerful, because now your ambition is aligned with something greater than your ego. Now, your drive is fueled by a desire to serve and contribute, not just to accumulate and impress. When you put God first, you still set goals, you still take action, you still work hard, but you do it from a completely different energy. You do it with joy instead of stress. You do it with faith instead of fear. You do it with love instead of desperation. And that changes everything. Think about the great masters, the great teachers, the great leaders throughout history. Were they passive? Were they weak? No. They were incredibly powerful, incredibly effective, incredibly influential. But their power came from a different source. It came from within. It came from their connection to something greater than themselves. And because of that connection, they were able to accomplish things that seemed impossible. You have that same power within you. You have access to that same source. The only thing standing between you and that power is your belief that you are separate from it. The only thing blocking your connection to the divine is your identification with your ego, your attachment to your limited sense of self. When you let go of that identification, when you release that attachment, when you remember that you are not your body, you are not your mind, you are not your story, you are not your past, you tap into a power that is unlimited. You access a creativity that has no boundaries. You connect with a love that knows no conditions. And from that place, you can create anything you want. You can accomplish anything you desire. You can become anyone you choose to be. Not because you are striving and struggling and forcing things to happen, but because you are allowing the divine to work through you, to create through you, to express through you. This is what it means to be a co-creator with God. You are not doing it alone. You are not separate from the source. You are an extension of the source, an expression of the source, a channel for the source. And when you know that, really know that, you live with a confidence and a peace that nothing can shake. Let me share something with you about what happens when you consistently put God first. Your whole relationship with fear changes. See, most people spend their entire lives running from fear or fighting against fear. They make decisions based on what they are afraid of. They avoid taking risks because they are afraid of failure. They stay in situations that do not serve them because they are afraid of change. They do not speak their truth because they are afraid of rejection. But when you put God first, fear loses its power over you. Not because you never feel fear anymore, but because you understand what fear really is. Fear is just your ego trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you small. And while you can appreciate that your ego is trying to help, you do not have to let it run your life. When you are connected to God, when you are aligned with your higher self, you have a deeper knowing that you are always safe, you are always supported, you are always exactly where you need to be. And from that knowing, you can acknowledge the fear, you can thank it for trying to protect you, and then you can take the action anyway. You can move forward in spite of the fear. You can do what scares you because you know that on the other side of that fear is your freedom, your growth, your expansion. I want you to think about this for a moment. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you attempt if you had absolute faith that everything would work out for your highest good? What risks would you take? What dreams would you pursue? What truth would you speak? When you put God first, you can live like that. Not because you have a guarantee that things will go exactly as you plan, but because you have faith that no matter what happens, you will be okay. You will grow from it. You will learn from it. You will become stronger and wiser because of it. And here is another beautiful thing that happens when you put God first. Your relationships transform. Because when you are no longer coming from neediness, when you are no longer looking for other people to complete you or validate you or make you happy, you can show up in relationships as a whole person. You can love without attachment. You can give without expecting anything in return. You can be fully present without trying to control or manipulate or fix the other person. When you put God first, you realize that your happiness does not depend on anyone else. Your peace does not come from external circumstances. Your worth is not determined by what other people think of you. All of that comes from within, from your connection to the divine. And when you know that, you are free to love people without needing anything from them. You are free to enjoy relationships without clinging to them. You are free to let people be who they are without trying to change them. And paradoxically, when you stop needing people, when you stop trying to get love, you actually experience more love. Because you are now giving love freely, offering love unconditionally. And that kind of love is magnetic. That kind of love is transformative. That kind of love changes everyone it touches. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but how do I actually do this? How do I put God first when I have bills to pay, when I have responsibilities, when I have people depending on me, when I live in a world that is constantly demanding my attention and my energy? And here is what I want you to understand. Putting God first is not about withdrawing from the world. It is not about abandoning your responsibilities. It is not about ignoring the practical realities of life. It is about bringing a different consciousness to everything you do. You can pay your bills with God consciousness. You can fulfill your responsibilities with God consciousness. You can meet the demands of the world with God consciousness. The question is not what you are doing, but who you are being while you are doing it. Are you doing it from fear or from love? Are you doing it from scarcity or from abundance? Are you doing it from ego or from spirit? When you put God first, you bring the presence of the divine into every activity, every conversation, every moment of your day. You wash the dishes with mindfulness. You drive your car with awareness. You have difficult conversations with compassion. You handle challenges with grace. You celebrate success with humility. Everything becomes a spiritual practice. Everything becomes an opportunity to express the divine through you. There is no separation between the sacred and the mundane. There is no division between your spiritual life and your practical life. It is all one. It is all God, expressing as you, through you, in you. And when you live like that, when you bring that consciousness to everything you do, work stops feeling like work. Obligations stop feeling like burdens. Life stops feeling like a struggle. Not because things necessarily become easier, but because you are experiencing them from a completely different place. You are flowing with life instead of resisting it. You are dancing with the universe instead of fighting against it. Let me tell you about surrender, because this is a key part of putting God first. Surrender does not mean giving up. Surrender does not mean becoming passive or resigned. Surrender means letting go of your attachment to how things should be and accepting what is. It means releasing your need to control everything and trusting that there is a higher intelligence at work. Your ego hates surrender. Your ego wants to be in charge. Your ego wants to figure everything out, plan everything, control everything. But here is the truth. You cannot control life. You cannot control other people. You cannot even control your own thoughts and emotions most of the time. So why waste your energy trying? When you surrender to God, when you surrender to the flow of life, you are not giving up your power. You are actually stepping into your true power. Because now you are not fighting against reality. You are not arguing with what is. You are accepting this moment exactly as it is. And from that acceptance, you can take appropriate action. Surrender is the opposite of resistance. And resistance is what causes suffering. When you resist what is, when you argue with reality, when you insist that things should be different than they are, you create pain for yourself. But when you surrender, when you accept, when you say yes to this moment, suffering dissolves. You may still experience challenges, you may still feel uncomfortable emotions, but there is no suffering. Because suffering is the resistance to what is happening, not the experience itself. When you put God first and practice surrender, you discover a peace that is not dependent on circumstances. You find a joy that is not conditional on everything going your way. You access a strength that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you are connected to an infinite source of power and wisdom. And here is what I have learned about God, about this divine presence that I am inviting you to put first. God does not judge you. God does not punish you. God does not keep score of your mistakes. God is pure love, pure acceptance, pure compassion. God sees you exactly as you are, with all your flaws and all your fears and all your failures. And God loves you completely, unconditionally, eternally. The only one judging you is you. The only one punishing you is you. The only one keeping score is you. And when you put God first, when you see yourself through the eyes of the divine, you start to let go of all that judgment. You start to forgive yourself. You start to accept yourself. You start to love yourself. And self-love is not selfish. Self-love is essential because you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot love others if you do not love yourself. You cannot offer compassion to others if you are constantly beating yourself up. You cannot be a channel for the divine if you are blocked by self-hatred and self-criticism. When you put God first and see yourself as the divine sees you, you realize that you are worthy just as you are, not because of what you have accomplished or what you look like or what other people think of you. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because you are a creation of God. You are worthy because the same power that creates universes chose to express itself as you. Think about that for a moment. Out of all the infinite possibilities, out of all the countless ways the divine could express itself, it chose to express itself as you. Your life, your personality, your gifts, your challenges, your story, all of it is a unique expression of God. There has never been another you, and there will never be another you. You are absolutely unique, absolutely irreplaceable, absolutely essential to the tapestry of creation. When you really get that, when you really understand that, how can you not put God first? How can you not honor that divine presence within you? How can you not live in alignment with your highest purpose? And here is the thing about your purpose. You do not have to go searching for it. You do not have to figure it out. Your purpose is not something outside of you that you need to find. Your purpose is built into who you are. Your purpose is to be yourself, fully and completely and authentically. Your purpose is to express the divine in your own unique way. When you put God first, your purpose becomes clear. Not through thinking about it, not through analyzing it, but through following your joy, through listening to your heart, through trusting your intuition. What brings you alive? What makes you forget about time? What would you do even if you never got paid for it? That is where your purpose lies. That is where God is calling you. And here is the beautiful thing. When you follow that call, when you align with your purpose, when you do what you are here to do, you do not have to worry about money or security or success. All of that takes care of itself. Because when you are in alignment with your purpose, when you are being who you are meant to be, the universe supports you. Opportunities appear. Resources show up. The right people come into your life at the right time. This is not magical thinking. This is how the universe works. When you are living in alignment with the divine, when you are expressing your true nature, you are in the flow. And in the flow, everything is effortless. Things just happen. Doors open. Synchronicities occur. Miracles become commonplace. But when you are out of alignment, when you are trying to be someone you are not, when you are living according to other people's expectations instead of your own inner truth, life is hard. You struggle. You push. You force. And even when you achieve success, it does not feel satisfying because it is not authentic success. It is not your success. It is someone else's idea of what success should look like. When you put God first, you stop chasing someone else's dream and you start living your own. You stop trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. You stop sacrificing your joy for some future achievement that you think will finally make you happy. You start living now. Being happy now, expressing yourself now. Because here is the truth. This moment is all you have. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. All you ever have is this present moment. And when you put God first, you are fully present in this moment. You are not lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future. You are here, now, alive, aware, awake. And in this moment, when you are fully present, you can access everything you need. You can access the wisdom of the divine. You can access the creativity of the universe. You can access the peace that passes understanding. All of it is available to you right now, in this moment, when you put God first. So how do you do it? How do you put God first, starting right now? You begin with a choice. You make a decision. You say to yourself, I am going to live differently. I am going to align with something greater than my ego. I am going to trust that there is a divine intelligence guiding my life, and I am going to follow that guidance. And then you take the first step. You sit in silence for a few minutes. You connect with that presence within you. You ask for guidance. You listen for that still, small voice that knows the way. And then you trust what you hear. You act on it. You follow it, even if it scares you, even if it does not make sense, even if everyone around you thinks you are crazy. Because here is what I know. That voice within you, that divine guidance, will never lead you astray. It will always guide you toward your highest good. It will always show you the path that is meant for you. And when you follow that path, when you trust that guidance, your life becomes an adventure. It becomes exciting. It becomes meaningful. You stop sleepwalking through life. You stop going through the motions. You stop living on autopilot. You wake up. You become conscious. You start really living instead of just existing. And as you continue to put God first, as you make it a daily practice, as you build your spiritual muscles, something shifts inside of you. You become more confident, not in an egotistical way, but in a quiet, grounded way. You know who you are, you know where you came from, you know where you are going, and nothing can shake that knowing. You become more peaceful, not because your life becomes problem-free, but because you are no longer disturbed by the ups and downs. You understand that everything is temporary, everything is changing, everything is flowing, and you flow with it instead of resisting it. You become more loving, not just toward others, but toward yourself, not just toward people who are easy to love, but toward everyone, even people who challenge you, even people who hurt you, because you see the divine in everyone. You see that we are all connected, we are all one, we are all expressions of the same source. And you become more generous, not just with your money, but with your time, your energy, your attention, your presence. Because you know that you are not separate from others. What you give to others, you give to yourself. What you do for others, you do for yourself. Because there is only one of us here. This is the transformation that happens when you put God first. This is the life that becomes possible when you align with the divine. This is the person you become when you remember who you really are. So I invite you today to make that choice. I invite you to put God first, not as a religious obligation, not as a moral duty, but as a practical, powerful, life-changing choice. I invite you to connect with that presence within you, to trust that guidance, to follow that inner voice, to align with your highest self, and watch what happens. Watch how your life transforms. Watch how obstacles dissolve. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how you become more of who you are meant to be. This is not about perfection. You will make mistakes. You will forget. You will get caught up in the drama of life. You will let your ego take over sometimes. And that is okay. That is all part of the process. The important thing is that you keep coming back. You keep reconnecting. You keep choosing God over ego, love over fear, faith over doubt. Every moment is a new opportunity to put God first. Every breath is a chance to remember who you are. Every choice is an invitation to align with the divine. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more you practice it, the more natural it feels. Until one day, putting God first is not something you have to try to do. It is just who you are. It is just how you live. And when you reach that point, when putting God first becomes your default way of being, you will look back on your life and you will see how far you have come. You will see how much you have grown. You will see how different you are from the person you used to be. And you will be grateful. Grateful for the journey. Grateful for the lessons. Grateful for the challenges that made you stronger. Grateful for the blessings that showed you love. Grateful for the divine presence that has been with you all along, guiding you, supporting you, loving you unconditionally. This is the promise of putting God first. This is the gift that is available to every single one of us. Not just to special people, not just to spiritual masters, not just to saints and sages, to you, to me, to everyone who is willing to make that choice, to take that step, to trust that guidance. So start today, start right now, put God first in this moment. Connect with that presence within you. Align with your highest self. Choose love over fear, choose faith over doubt, choose trust over control, and watch your life transform in ways you never thought possible. Because when you put God first, everything else falls into place. Not in the way your ego expects, but in the way that is perfect for your soul's growth. Not according to your timeline, but according to divine timing. Not the way you planned, but the way that serves your highest good. Trust the process. Trust the journey. Trust the divine presence that is guiding you every step of the way. And know that you are loved, you are supported, you are never alone. God is not somewhere far away. God is right here, right now, within you, as you, expressing through you. Put God first, and everything you have been searching for, everything you have been longing for, everything you have been working toward will find its way to you. Not because you are chasing it, but because you are finally in alignment with who you really are. And who you really are is magnificent, powerful, divine, unlimited. This is your birthright. This is your true nature. This is who you have always been, even when you forgot. So remember now. Choose now. Put God first now. And step into the life you were always meant to live.